Well, I mean, that was one of the great sports moments of my life, and so that's really that's the way I can put it, and then I'll open it up for any questions you guys have.
Does the win against Georgia prepare you for this degree of resiliency against a team like Kansas?
You know, we've had leads and we played really good teams already, and obviously we have the deficit of Georgia, and it's tough to play on the road, and they had both Georgia and Vandy had very good crowds, so when you play and have that adversity, I'm sure it helps some, but we have tough kids that, you know, got big time grit and heart and believe in themselves, you know, really confident kids, and they're as hard a working group as I've had, and if they didn't work that hard, they wouldn't have the confidence to go out and do what they did tonight.
Speaking of confidence, I mean, getting to the rim, I mean, you were able to get there, just missing those shots. What were you saying during timeouts and stuff to kind of calm them down and start hitting those?
Yeah, we just wanted to keep defending in the second half and focusing on that end of the floor, and we changed some things up at halftime with Lawson just to try and make his touches a little more difficult and give him more attention, and just wanted them to keep shooting jump shots, and we thought if we could force them to shoot contested jump shots, we have a good chance. And you know, we kept saying, like, hey, we're right there, we're down 3, we're down 5, we're down 7, whatever it was, and you know, we're missing a lot of layups, we're missing free throws, so you know, we're right there. We just gotta stay in the fight.
When you decided to start doubling Lawson, was that an easy decision, just given what he'd been doing, or what's the calculus of that?
It's just, you know, he had 18 and 8 at halftime, and he's very skilled. He's one of the most skilled, you know, front court players that I've seen, you know, certainly this year. So it's we knew we had to give more support to that, and then hope that we could rotate properly and then you know, make someone else beat us, because he was on pace to put up, and he still finished with 30, I guess. But you know, I don't know. More than that, that's great. But this was just a huge moment, you know, for our basketball program. And you know, I remember when I first started, you know, my first couple of games here, and to see what it's like now, it's just it's unreal. And so to have these memories, and for our players to have it, it's terrific. And you know, the crowd was dynamic. It was off the charts in terms of the electricity in that building. And you know, two teams, you know, fought extremely hard. You know, felt like an NCAA tournament game for something real important, and that's the caliber of athletes and basketball players on the floor.
How do you guys overcome 29% shooting in the first half?
Well, I mean, it wasn't. We thought, and I framed it with the guys, but I was hoping we could make some shots in the second half. But to be shooting that number and to be only down 8 points, you know, I looked at it as more of a positive that we were that close. It could have been a lot worse.
Coach, it seemed like at no point did your team ever look like they felt like they wanted to, like they should win, not should win. They always played with confidence. This was their game. It was just a matter of going on a run. How do they always dig deep and come up with that?
Just have, you know, again, just high-level players. I mean, we got guys that in games like this, we're not at a disadvantage from a talent standpoint. It's, you know, when you have guys that can make plays the way we can, and you know, Remy was 1 for 6 in the first half, and came out and made, you know, a couple of biggest shots in the game. Rob Edwards, who's been through so much with injury stuff, you know, he was so clutch down the stretch, you know, making free throws and big shots. And then Zylan is always the stability that he brings as a guy that's like been through all these wars, and there won't be another guy that could guard as many guys on the floor as he can and rebound the way he does, and just have such an overall like impact on what we do.
Maybe one of the overlooked stats of the night, Tayshaun Cherry, 4 steals. Kansas had 6 as a team.
Yeah, Tay is way more than a shooter. I mean, he's got a great shot, and he made a couple threes in the first half. But he's, you know, he plays hard and he rebounds, and you know, he's just scratching the surface, you know, for where he'll be as his career continues to develop.
Bobby, I apologize if you already answered this, but what all did you do in the second half of Lawson to kind of limit his looks? Because he was in pretty good rhythm.
Yeah, well, you look at the stat sheet and you see the numbers, and then you say, all right, well, you know, we did some things well. We're down 8, but this guy, I mean, I can't watch this again in the second half. So, you know, first of all, it was mellow, too, with just working a little bit harder to make his catches a little further away and more difficult. And then from there, we were just trying to go to him and double him whenever we could. And we had a designated guy to go and do that, to try and get the basketball out of his hands.
What about the second chance opportunities? I think there was like a stretch where you had, Lake and White had like 3 in a row where you just got second chances and were to the free throw line, just like that persistence of that.
Yeah, it was just a relentless way that we, you know, guys going after the basketball, just not assuming someone's going to make the shot. And we, you know, again, we missed a lot of layups that I think normally we would make, and so we had no choice but to do that, and it meant a lot to the guys. Like I think we battled as hard as we could every possession. We went all in. They went all in, and they gave everything they had tonight.
How
You
important was it?
you mentioned missed free throws and missed layups, but you stayed in the fight. How's it feel to win a big-time game like this, showing resilience in this type of way?
Yeah, it all started kind of last year, just with the year that we had, and the seniors and how they flipped the script for ASU, and we had players that were in the program that went through that year, and it was valuable for us. And we had our transfers, Zylan and Rob, sitting out, and they got a taste of seeing what we were doing, and I think that's helped us in these games, in these close games. Mississippi State game was another example. We had a huge lead in that one, and they came all the way back to tie us, and we showed enough poise and execution and will to win to get that victory. And this was kind of similar. There was a lot of adversity in the game, and just got a lot of winners in the locker room. You know, even the freshmen, you know, really aren't scared of the moment or intimidated by the moment, and they can play at such a high level. So it was a great team win.
Your guys seem kind of unfazed by your missing free throws and some turnovers, and they just seem unfazed by when something goes wrong.
I just think that they're out there playing, and then we're reminding them that, like, we're playing pretty well. We just got to convert some of these shots, and that we normally would convert, and then, you know, we're in a great situation. I think as the game wore on, I think we gained more confidence to think that we should win this game, and they just kept staying in it, and then we got our stops, and Rob Edwards and Remy were huge just with the shot making late in the game, and that was it.
Was it important to slow them down in the second half?
Yeah, they did get out in transition, you know, too much in the first half, and they were able to score, and you know. And we were doing some uncharacteristic things. We left our feet sometimes, and we're throwing the ball, you know, different places. So we weren't really, from any standpoint, anywhere near what we needed to be in the first half on offense. But the defense kind of kept us in enough that we were in striking distance.
Did you feel Kansas' transition defense was really something that was hard to overcome the whole 40 minutes?
I'm sorry, I said
The transition defense that Kansas presented 40 minutes, is that something that really just made it harder on you guys on offense in general?
I'm not sure on that one. I think that, you know, I think our depth helped us. You know, they didn't go as deep into their bench, and we were able to really get a good distribution of minutes, and I thought we were fresh, you know, late in the game, you know, to make enough plays. But I don't think I answered your question.
Including you, did everyone come out of the celebration unscathed?
Yeah, I think everyone's on their way to the airport right now. So. There's going to be a lot of happy guys flying, you know, through the night to their families to have a great Christmas. It makes Christmas so much better. Yeah. So it was a great scene in our locker room. We had a lot of support from you know, President Crow and Ray Anderson, and it was a tremendous celebration. You know, got to see Jason Kidd and Michael Phelps and Grant Hill, my former guy. So it was a fun few minutes in the locker room.
Coach, any chance you saw Zylan's reaction at the end there after Rob tracked down the loose ball before he got fouled and hit the free throws?
When you say his reaction, what do you mean?
Yeah, Zylan looked happy. I was wondering if you could describe what you saw from him.
Yeah, I mean, I just at the end, like when the buzzer sounds, then I'm done, and then I'll be happy. But I didn't notice that. I was kind of thinking, what else, could happen from this point on. And, yeah, we were talking about, what ifs, what if Rob would have missed both? What if Rob makes 1 out of 2? What if he makes both? So, I mean, just all different scenarios that would happen in a game that could be 2 points, 3 points, or 4 points.
I know you touched on to Sean, but it seemed like when defensively, especially when he was in the game with Romello, he's taking more chances getting the turnovers. Is that obviously on the defensive end of the court something you're looking for, that he meshes well with Romello?
Yeah, we just wanted to see him. He was active. He had the 1 steal on the baseline. I thought was really good, just anticipating and rotating over. And yeah, he did a lot of great things for a freshman, and big threes. And so he's a guy that's gonna have a big impact on what we do this year.
Everyone have what they need?
Hey, what's that? Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. Thanks, Bob.